Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko 4131DNBL. This is a dark bronze anodized aluminum automatic door bottom with a nylon brush insert. That can be surface mounted or semi-mortise mounted. So let's talk about automatic door bottoms. Let's take the perspective that you're new to them, and let's begin. First of all, an automatic door bottom is exactly what its namesake implies. It automatically seals the bottom of the door when the door is closed. It's a very simple operation by which that occurs, and it's simply put, when this plunger is depressed, it forces the bottom to drop. And when that bottom drops, it seals against the edge of the floor, or seals against the floor. That's how they work. Now, a detailed explanation. First of all, there are generally there's two different types really of automatic door bottoms, but then a couple of subcategories. First of all, there are those that mortise into the bottom of a wood door, or those that are installed into the inverted bottom channel of a steel door. Those are both considered mortise type. You got your one specialty version for a hollow metal door. Then you have ones that surface mount like this. These surface ones can also be mortised flush to the face of the door, whereas you would take a router and route the entire bottom face of the door, basically this thick and this tall, so that it's flush and smooth with the face of the door, which is a very elegant way to install these as well. This model is completely surface mounted, most commonly. It's very rare that I know of a client that buys this and does a semi-mortise. So surface mount is pretty much the way that you're going to see this work. Now, Pemko is a full-line manufacturer of all things automatic door bottom related, a variety of duties, light duty, medium duty, heavy duty, specialty items. You'll have them manufactured for acoustical applications. You can have lead-lined versions made as well. Material, bristle, silicone, neoprene, are a variety of different options. Security styles where that bar that you can see here extends out so that it is a security situation that prevents someone from getting something underneath the door, like a tool to unlock the lever. Security ones are available as well. And of course all the finishes, aluminum, clear anodized aluminum, dark bronze, gold, etc. This specific model is their 4131, which is a standard duty commercial, which features the nylon brush, okay, and is a very nice, smart, elegant door bottom. And I say that because it's of substantial duty rating to handle a moderate commercial amount of use. I see these in hotels all the time. It is of excellent fit and finish. The dark bronze anodizing is very good. Okay, and with the nylon bristle is extremely common and appropriate for most applications. Now, automatic door bottoms, how they work. You'll notice that this end has what's called the drop well, I call it the plunger. And that is indeed what Pemko calls it as well, a plunger. You'll take note that this end of the door bottom has that, and that the other end of the door bottom does not. The principle by which these work is based on the fact that the plunger is always installed on the hinge side of the door. It can never be installed on the lock side of the door because you need for this to make contact with the jamb when the door closes. So imagine that you get this mounted to the face of your door, obviously on the push side only, because if you mounted it on the pull side, this would never make contact with anything. Mounted on the push side, when the door is pushed or pulled closed, this will eventually make contact with the stop of the frame. As the door is pushed closed all the way, this has nowhere to go but in. And when it's depressed, it will force that dropping action to occur, which is basically, this item is connected to a flat spring inside of here, which is evidenced from this rivet here. The inner workings are inside of here. And when this is pushed in, that flat spring is compressed, and it forces this bellying action. The flat spring bellies rather than stay straight. That bellying action forces the drop bar to move down. Now, it's normal that this drops unevenly, and to prove that, I'll use my thumb to emulate it being the sill condition. So as the drop bar drops, it will encounter the sill here. Well, I'll restrict it, and then what happens is you can see that the other side will drop as well. So it comes down somewhat like a guillotine, where it drops here and then seals down the rest of the way. That's elegant because that action will allow you to contour to an uneven sill or a door that's not plumb. Obviously not a wavy surface, but you can have a sill that's a little unlevel, and this will work really well for that. We'll work with gaps up to 3/4 inch, from basically 0 to 3/4 inch, and that is regulated by how far you turn the plunger in and out. The more I turn it out, the greater travel it will encounter, pushing that seal down further. If I turn it clockwise, it sticks out much less. Okay, I think you get the idea. There is a link below this video to the installation instructions. But before we go on with that, there's an image below this video showing everything important dimensionally about the item. So the overall height, they've got it at 1 and 27/32. That's basically going to be 1 and 13/16, and it indeed is very close to that. The thickness is 19/32, or roughly 5/8. Okay. If you're going to surface mount this, well, let's jump to the installation instructions so as not to get ahead of ourselves. Let's go over the installation at this point, and I will address the sizing of how you are to go about ordering this item. So, 2 pages to the installation instructions. Page 1 is more of a let's get you started with a summary sort of idea about brush gasketing. Brush gasketing products consist of dense Type 6 nylon bristles, which means they're of substantial commercial quality. These gasketing products will conform to irregular surfaces, making it an excellent product to seal almost any opening, causing using a minimal opening force. Closing force. That means just with my finger I can push that in, and that small amount of force with these bristles will allow it to contour itself. Now, here's the practical application of bristles that we can prove that it works. People in the restaurant business get inspected all the time. They like bristle door sweeps because the inspector is showing up and he's looking for daylight. If daylight gets underneath the door, well, so can a critter, and that's a problem for someone in the restaurant business. So nylon bristle has a tendency to really fan out, conceal the exterior from the interior, allowing you to get a really good seal. And it does so without impeding the operation of a door closer that might be installed or making it unusually difficult to open and close the door. About brush automatic door bottoms. Pemko automatic door bottoms consist of an aluminum case which surrounds a movable drop bar. The drop bar seal is actuated by a plunger which contacts the jamb as the door is closing, forcing the drop seal down against the floor or threshold. Brush automatic door bottoms are frequently used when an automatic door bottom is required to close over the carpet. So that is a very irregular surface. That brush seal would work really well. And it's not uncommon. You will see residential applications where you've got the front door of the house, and as soon as you open the door, that carpeting comes right out to the outside of the frame, or very close to it, or halfway in between, by which the door is actually residing over the final strip of carpeting before it will transition to maybe a butt-up sort of threshold. Hallmarks of this is a low closing force that we talked about, and that's with a lot of door bottoms, I would not be able to push that in so easily, which is nice because door closers, spring hinges might be challenged by any automatic door bottom, but just pushing the door closed. Provide excellent seals to keep out the draft, dust, moisture, insects, fumes, light, and sound. End plates for all mounting applications are provided. We'll go over that in a moment because I still have them in the package. Below that, product available finishes. You can see all the different finishes: bright dip gold, clear anodized, dark bronze like this one, regular gold, The bright dip gold is a bit more metallic than a gold, which would more complement polished brass. And then satin nickel. Tools required below, parts included. You can see your end plates there. I'll show you the actual ones. Now, installation instructions. I'm going to read through these, and I'm going to give you any sort of important, accent points necessary. If the automatic door bottom is to be installed on a semi-mortise application, prepare the door to the dimensions shown on the profile drawing on the front of the label, which is included. So what that means, if you're going to semi-mortise this, you're going to lay your door flat, and you're going to actually route that entire bottom part of the door so that this item sits flush both to the face and to the bottom of the door. Note, and this is really important, if the door is fire rated or of acoustical construction or of any sort of construction that you might somehow hinder the door's proper operation or handicap it so that you are cutting out some sort of important structure to the door, or again, if it's fire rated, you're not permitted to do any of that semi-mortising to it, because you would impede the integrity of the door. You would destroy the integrity of the door. Or an acoustical door. They're not made to be mortised like that. You'd have to have it manufactured or machined from the factory in either of those instances to ensure maintenance of the existing listing for either fire or acoustical properties. Now, field sizing. Cut from the opposite actuator plunger only. That means this. Never cut this side with the plunger. You only cut the opposite side, which is the lock side, of the door. When cutting, be sure that the drop bar, you're most likely going to have to cut this in the field. Before I get to number 4. We have it in the site in several different standard nominal sizes, 32, 36, 30, 44, 48, etc. Rare would it be that you need that, and especially for a surface mount, because the net size that you need this to be is addressed actually in number 4. When cutting, be sure that the drop bar is flush with the case on the plunger side, and that the gasketing insert projects at least 1/8 of an inch. So you're going to want to make sure that your gasketing sticks out just a little bit, but the aluminum inside of here is flush to the end. And the reasoning is this: when that bottom drop bar seals, it doesn't seal straight down, even though we know that it does this. It actually moves in an angular momentum ever so slightly. So they want the brush to stick out a little bit on the plunger side so that when it does do this, you still have coverage. You can cut these in the field, generally about 4-inch. However, where you see this rivet, you're going to want to stay well on the other side of that. So in this case, about 2-inch, and that's okay. You can certainly cut it. There's going to be some steel inside of there that would be the retainer of the bristle, but everything else is aluminum except the nylon. Now, I'm a fan of you ordering it the exact size that you need it, because the factory's cutting it anyway. Allow them to take responsibility for getting it correct, preventing any opportunity of damage in cutting it in the field. They're cutting these items from long extrusions anyway. 36 to them is the same as 35 1/8. Doesn't really matter. If you need to order a custom length, perhaps you have a job site that's 100 miles away and you're not going to drive there, you'll just cut it, certainly. Order the next longest piece and indicate in the comment field what net length you want us to cut it to, and that's how it'll be ordered and shipped. How you do that is this: stand on the push side of the door. The distance between the stops is your order size less 1/8 of an inch. So if you had a 3-foot door, let's use a hollow metal door and frame for an example. You had a 3-foot wide door. Those stops project 5/8 of an inch. That's 1 1/4 inches total. So you've got 34 3/4 between the stops. Deduct 1/8, 34 5/8. That would be the magic size for me. That's what I would do. I would not want to cut it in the field. I wouldn't want to take the chance of of damaging it, quite frankly. Plus, you get a factory edge when they're cutting it on proper tools, and it looks nice. So that's your logic. Obviously, if you're using it in a residential application, you need to measure the distance between the stops because your projection won't be 5/8. It'll be 1/2 inch or maybe more. Who knows? When cutting, be sure that okay. We addressed number 4 for a surface mount. If you're doing a semi-mortise, you're going to want to cut the automatic door bottom to the actual door size itself. So in this case of let's say if it was a steel frame that's 3 foot wide and a wood door that's 35 and 13/16, you pretty much want to order it 35 and 13/16, although I'd be tempted to make it a 1/16 of an inch less, because a wood door, if it's beveled, will be a little bit different measured on the push side of the door than it is on the center of the door or on the pull side. Moving to step 5, adjust and trim the gasketing insert so that it projects at least a 1/16 of an inch at each end of the drop bar and case. Absolutely. You'll always need to probably trim these a little bit, but they're always very close to that. In instances like this, you probably want to install a dust plug that Pemko sells as well. It's an adhesive-backed pile that you would put between in the rabbet of the door on either side to close off that area. They're called dust plugs. Number 6, for nylon brush seal, cut with bolt cutters or diagonal cutting pliers. They will pinch the strip to retain the bristles. You're not going to want to try to cut through that steel that's in there. You're going to want to pull this out and get snippers if you were to have to cut it. Let's say you needed to take 1.25 inches, 1 3/8 off of this. You're going to want to get this exposed, pull it out a little bit, snip it properly. Don't try to cut that with a miter box saw. Number 7, crimp the ends of the brush strip and the drop bar to prevent the nylon brush from sliding out. That's indicated there. With the actuating plunger at the hinge side, fasten the automatic door bottom to the door with the screws provided. The screws are appropriate for use in either wood or metal doors. You're going to get plenty of these. This one needs 3 of them, which will go right through the case. Okay. For surface-mounted application, the plunger contacts the stop as shown in Figure 9. For mortise, application that shows how it contacts in Figure 10. The underside edge of the automatic door bottom case should be installed flush with the bottom of the door. So this section here needs to be flush with the bottom, even though the bristle sticks out just a little bit. That's understood. For wood jambs, you're going to want to take the number 10 flathead screw and apply it directly opposite of where the plunger makes contact on the wood frame, because over time this will create a divot in the wood frame that you don't want. After you get the automatic door bottom attached, you want to turn that in so it barely sticks out, 1/8 of an inch. You can see that you can use a Phillips screwdriver. Start to test your door. Have it push out, turn it counterclockwise to get it to drop further. Once you get it exactly where you want it, meaning it's making contact, it's not pushing hard or bottoming out, because you want the drop bar to instantly start to snap up into the housing as soon as you go to open the door, because if there's too much pressure on that spring, the drop bar is still in the down position when you're opening the door, and you'll drag that and you'll damage it, is the bottom line. So be conservative with it. Screw the actuating plunger, number 13, screw the actuating plunger in or out as required until the gasketing insert just touches the sealing surface when the door is closed. It is only necessary to lightly compress the insert against the sealing surface to provide a good seal. Further adjustments may be necessary for uneven floor surfaces. Now, those end plates that we had talked about earlier, screws are included to hold those in. Obviously the side with the plunger, and then this is the lock side. Those holes and those screws allow you to attach them to that feature of the extrusion right at the tip of my fingers. That will dress that off really nice. And Pemko is a substantial, comprehensive manufacturer of automatic door bottoms. moving on to the last page, there are actually 3 pages that shows how you get the end plates installed, and that's very common and straightforward. Pemko has lighter duty material, like an SA2 would be something equivalent to this material here, and then they've got stuff much heavier. The only complaint that I've really ever heard about an automatic door bottom, and if I've sold 1,000 of these, maybe 10,000, I've only heard it once, is that when you open the door, you hear that clank. And while to me the automatic door bottom is such a perfect solution to the problem, because you might have carpeting, like I said earlier, you might have a polished floor, and this isn't dragging across your floor constantly. It's always neatly tucked up into the housing. You might have kids that leave their shoes in front of the door, and here you come and open the door, and now you're dragging your door sweep over, your low-hanging door sweep over shoes or a rug. Automatic door bottom gets around that problem. So the clanking observation certainly is valid, but to me it's one small thing to give up. And Pemko has many models that have filler inside of there between those 2 areas that actually do the clanking to remediate that sort of sound as well. And there's a link to the Pemko catalog, the full line catalog, below this video, to their catalog page where you can look at the catalog itself. That will show you all of the ones that they have, and it's extensive. Full line manufacture all things weather stripping, thresholds, perimeter gasketing, obviously door sweeps, material made of aluminum base, stainless steel base, architectural bronze, and of course other items. They have aluminum continuous geared hinges and a comprehensive offering of sliding door hardware. Any questions on the Pemko 4131DNBL automatic door bottom or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us.